Hello, everyone, and welcome back to Jonathan's Coin Toss. I'm back at it. This week, we're going to do a part 2 of the NBA playoffs. Last week, I did part 1, just talking about the current seeding and who's playing who and who was up in their respective series. And I'm going to do the same thing today, as we've now gone a little bit over a week and a half since then. So we have a lot of updates. Some teams, of course, have been eliminated. And some are starting off pretty good, some not so much. So I'll tell you about all that. So without further ado, let's get started. Before we continue, here's Chelsea to tell you about Anchor.
If you don't know what Anchor is, it's an app that is basically the easiest way to make a podcast. And the best part is it's free. There's creation tools that allow you to record and edit podcasts right from your phone or computer. Anchor will distribute your podcast, so you don't necessarily have to worry about doing all of that. It goes on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, any other one that you could possibly think about. And you can make money from your podcast with no minimum listenership. So even if you are listening it to you by yourself, you can get paid from it. Everything you need to make a podcast is all in one place in the app on your phone or desktop. Download the free Anchor app or go to anchor.fm to get started.
All right, so welcome back. As mentioned, we're going to be discussing the NBA playoffs, part 2, the bubble playoffs. So right now, as it stands, as this recording, it is September the 4th. So you do have some games that are going to be happening today, Friday, September 4th. Tonight you have the Bucks and Heat playing. Miami's up 2-0 in that series. And then you have the Rockets and Lakers, game 1. So Milwaukee's not looking good. I mentioned this on the last episode. They haven't been looking good at all during these bubble games. So this is it tonight. If they go down 3-0, I mean, not only is it like a safe bet that they're definitely not winning the series, it's just history's against them. It's never happened in NBA history. It's only happened pretty much once in sports history, in baseball, when the Yankees were up 3-0 on the Red Sox years ago. But it hasn't happened in hockey, or it hasn't happened in NBA. So as far as the four major pro sports are concerned. So Milwaukee down 2-0. Miami is looking to go up 3-0 and has put a chokehold on the Milwaukee Bucks, which would be very, very disappointing. I mean, Miami's got a respectable team, but Milwaukee's been a favorite for a while now. And each year it's grown more and more. More people have taken notice to them. This is a franchise that once upon a time was rumored to be moving to Vegas or even going to Seattle getting a team again. That's not happening now. Now with the Greek Freaking Company doing what they're doing, bringing that franchise back to life. But it's not looking good for them. So that's tonight. And then Houston and LA, I'm going to say it's going to go 7 games. Harden and Westbrook against AD and LeBron. That's going to be fun. I hope it's not like one of these series where it's like one team goes up 3-0 and it's just shocking. I really feel it's going to go 7 games. I think it should be pretty entertaining, especially when you follow along these games on social media, on Twitter and everywhere else. It's always fun to see fans just kind of jaw at one another about their favorites and their least favorites. But so that's going to be fun. I always see people saying Harden not playing good defense. He had that key block in that elimination game 7 against the Thunder. So that was a little something there from him. Maybe we'll see more of it. You never know. Probably not. He's probably just going to keep dropping 40 points a game or something. So, but to rewind a little bit before I go on to the next couple of games happening the next few days, since there's only 2 games today. Speaking of that series, the Thunder and the Rockets went 7 games. That was exciting. Chris Paul and company over in Oklahoma City, they were, you can see it online. They were pretty much written off before the season started. They had 0.2% chance of making the playoffs, and yet they were just a few seconds away, one big play away from advancing. So give the Thunder a lot of credit. They're rebuilding. Give Chris Paul credit. I mean, every team he's been on quite a few teams, in case you haven't noticed or you may have forgotten. This guy is a Hall of Fame player. He doesn't have a ring yet, but he tends to, every team he goes to, he tends to get close or at least shock people. Thunder had in many people's eyes, no shot at all of making it even remotely close to the playoffs. And here they were. So I give them props. But yeah, they lost in 7. And then even more exciting than that series, in my opinion, was Denver and Utah. I mean, what? Another series that went 7 games. And Jamal Murray and company there against Donovan Mitchell. What a great series. I missed a couple of games. I tried to watch as much as I could. But, man, they were going at it, Murray and Mitchell. Just back and forth. Just a classic throwback. Just the two superstars taking over, dropping, 40 points here, 50 here, and just all the way down to the wire. And, of course, in today's day and age in the NBA, scoring is dominant. There's no defense. Not like it used to be. Not to sound like the old man. I'm only 30, but even the basketball I saw when I was a kid, there was defense. You would see, 95 to 90 or 89 to 79, just low-scoring games every so often. You rarely see that. So what happens in this series with these two high-powered, stars on their teams that they have there, with great pieces around them? What's the final score? 80 to 78. And Denver wins in 7 over the Utah Jazz. Mitchell was heartbroken. He was crying as he walked off the court. Understandably, that's just a heartbreaker, It's one of those where each team had their opportunities, and then at the end, you lose in Game 7 by 2 points. So it's been an emotional year overall, and these athletes are out there. They haven't seen their families in so long, and they're putting everything in the line. You have to give these guys a ton of credit. Being stuck in that bubble for weeks and weeks and weeks. And, it's gut-wrenching. Pros and cons are, you go home. You didn't want to, of course, but you go home, you get to see your family you haven't seen. The con is that, man, you missed so much time, and you get eliminated in such a close game. They didn't get blown out. And, again, it's such a low-scoring game. I mean, the Jazz, just looking at it, just 78 points. And Denver's 80 points. It's just incredible. I love seeing those sort of throwback games. They're very rare. Probably won't see it the rest of the way. You never know, but highly unlikely. Those are a couple of the more exciting series. The rest of them are pretty much like 4-1. Milwaukee over Orlando. Nets got swept by Toronto. Boston swept Philadelphia. So a couple of the series weren't great at all. Just blowouts, sweeps, and whatnot. And now it's, getting down to the wire again, as now with there's less teams now. Less teams will add for more drama, and I'm just loving these superstars going at it. I hope it continues. Again, seeing now Westbrook and Harden taking on AD and LeBron, it's gonna be exciting. It should be a lot of offense, that's for sure. LeBron, he's older, but he's still doing his thing. He's still great. And now he's even passing more. He's just getting better at everything that he's already been good at. Aging like fine wine, essentially, So, and it doesn't hurt to have Anthony Davis there at your side. And in Harden, he didn't have a great offensive game. Game 7 there against the Thunder. I think he dropped I don't even know what was 17 points or something like that. Something just a poor shooting night. But they still won. He still made the big play, and then you still have Westbrook. So. Westbrook had a couple of sloppy performances as well. Eventually that's going to stop. They're both going to wake up and just go off. So we'll see. The Rockets tend to kind of linger around the later stages in the playoffs the last few years. Chris Paul was injured, I mentioned last week as well, and Game 7 against the Warriors last time around. And if they had won that game, they're going to the finals. So we'll see if the Rockets finally do it. I always mention they're always there for years and years. The Rockets just linger. So I'm curious to see if they can finally do it and beat the Lakers and move on. But time will tell.